Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello and welcome to another session of our course titled Marketing Management Part 1. So, this is third module on capturing market insights. We are in week 3. This is going to be your 5th lecture in this module. So, I will continue or I will give you a brief recap of what we have discussed till now in the previous sessions. We started talking about what is marketing research process, and in that process you can recall we have talked about the different stages of marketing research process. So, it starts with management decision problem. A researcher has to understand corresponding to what to a particular management decision problem, what are the research problem or what are the research problems that he needs to address, and based on those problems he needs to formulate the research objectives or the marketing research objectives. Then he has to create a plan, he has to come out with a research design or a blueprint how to address those or how to fulfill those marketing research objectives, and in that he collects the information. The information could be primary, information collection could be secondary or could be a mix of both. Then you have the analysis of the collected information, which is followed by the final preparation of the report and reporting of the findings to the management, so that they can make a suitable decision or the most appropriate decision in the considering the different options they have. So, we started talking about, we have discussed about management decision problem, marketing research problem, the relationship between two, that they share the causal relationship, one is the effect of the other. Then we started talking about the next step, that is research design. So, I talked about there are broadly two types of research design, one is exploratory research design and the other one is basically conclusive research design. Within conclusive research design you have descriptive research design, which is further subdivided into two parts, that is cross sectional design, that at a particular point of time you draw a sample and based on that you come out with your whatever information you are seeking, you try to come out with the information from that sample. However, if you perform the study on the same sample over the period of time, it is called as longitudinal design. And then the other type of conclusive research design is causal research design, where you try to establish the causal relationship between two variable, you investigate whether there is a causal relationship or not. So, I am going to first talk about today, that is exploratory research design, and you will see in quite often in the marketing projects, marketing research projects, exploratory research design will be something complementing the later stages of the conclusive research design. So, it is very important to understand the exploratory research design. Further, I was talking about the nature of the data sources. So, there are two types of data sources, primary and secondary. While the secondary data is something which has been collected some other purpose, but you can also use that, and the secondary data could be coming from the internal records of the company, or you can get it from the external sources. Then you have the primary data sources or primary data collection, where you basically collect the data in the specific context of that problem which you are dealing with, and you might not have other sources of the data or the information that can answer your questions. So, going into this exploratory research design, the exploratory research can be divided into two types, primary and secondary. The secondary data could come from the literature review, the publicly available data from the government, or it could also be probably something which comes from the private consulting firms and all that. So, this is something which is very important, that you first look into the existing literature regarding the issues which you are dealing with. So, you probably and today's world, because so much work is going on and so much work has been happened, it is very likely that you will get some kind of research, previous research or previous reports that will help you in further understanding of your problem, further refinement of your problem, and then how to basically approach that problem, what are the possible approaches to solve that problem, or what are the different approaches to get the information to basically answer those questions. So, that is basically the secondary data. Then you have the primary data that is collected specifically for the problem in hand. So, in the exploratory type also you have two types, that is direct direct techniques of data collection, and then you have indirect sources of data collection. We will talk about both. So, in the direct exploratory research and indirect exploratory research, you will see that so in the primary data collection for in the exploratory research, which involves the primary data collection, you have two types of techniques, that is based on the whether the purpose of the data collection is known to the respondent or not. So, that can be divided into the direct exploratory research design and the indirect exploratory research design. So, in the direct, basically you have couple of methods where the purpose of data collection is known to the respondent. So, these are basically focus group interviews, in-depth interviews, content analysis, and the ethnography or the observation based research. Now, the first one among them is focus group interviews. In this case, what happens is you have basically a set of homogeneous pre-screened 8 to 12 participants kept in a basically a meeting room or some environment where probably they discuss about the issue which is to be researched. So, there is a moderator which facilitates that kind of focus group discussion or focus group interview. What happens is generally the moderators start the session, he tries to put all the participant at ease, he tells the purpose and he gives the topic of the discussion also. So, basically you will see that in the focus group discussion, you will see that generally the duration of this kind of data collection technique is generally 60 minutes to 150 minutes. It could vary something around on the lower and the upper limit, but broadly it will lie probably in this time range. And you will understand in the focus group interviews, the role of the moderator is very important, because the moderator has to facilitate the discussion, he has to basically take care of the group dynamics, he has to understand or probably prompt the people to participate in the focus group discussion, he has to give the direction. So, it is also important that see this is unstructured way of data collection. However, even before this focus group discussion, the moderator should have basically a script ready. So, he needs to try his job. One of the key job of this moderator is that he should keep the group not diverting away from the issue. So, keep the group probably within the purview of the probably the topic which you are discussing, and then keep giving the direction, and then probably also what he has to do is he has to prompt the people who are not participating or encourage people to come out, and that is how you enhance the effectiveness of focus group discussion. So, you can understand that moderator should have a good interpersonal skills, good communication skills, he should be very sensitive, he should be sensitive to others, so that while he promote or encourage people to talk, he should not hurt the sensitivities of the probably the participants. So, there are basically there are some pros and cons of focus group interviews, is that as you can understand, moderator's role is very important. So, this is a basically an exercise or a method which requires certain kind of skills in the moderator, and that getting those moderators or the skilled moderators is not that is something which is easy or they are not freely available. Moreover, those who come with the skills probably are expensive also. So, you will understand that focus group discussion are something which is a bit expensive, and it is also probably requires a higher level of skill sets from the moderator side. You will see that however, with in the today's arena, this focus group discussion is being supplemented by the technological equipments. Like earlier, whatever used to be talked during the focus group discussion, a person has to basically, who is assisting this moderator, has to write down whatever has been talked about, or probably get the tape of that. Now, with the cameras and this audio systems, audio recording system, those requirements have come down, and probably it can be done in a much easier manner today. Some of the things which one must keep in mind is that the focus group interview should be done among the homogeneous people, and any conflict among the group members should be avoided. Now, what happens is, you have many a times in the focus groups discussion, people cannot talk about the sensitive issues or personal issues, or some the issues which are embarrassing to them, or and sometimes the responses in the focus group discussion are conforming to the existing social norms, and in that case the respondents may change their response as they understand what is being talked about. So, in that case probably the another technique which is used is in-depth interviews, where probably it is one-to-one interaction between the interviewer and the respondent. As you can see on the screen, it is like it is again an unstructured direct face-to-face interaction, in which a single respondent is probed by a highly skilled interviewer to uncover underlying motivations, belief, attitudes and feelings about a topic. So, you can understand it is pretty similar to focus group in that manner, that it is unstructured, it is a qualitative study, but it is one to one, and it is face to face interaction. The personal issues can be talked about, individual can be at much more ease in talking to an interviewer, and he can be probed in a much deeper manner than probably what is possible in the focus group. With a focus group, it is also not possible that you can correlate, or you can pick who is saying what. So, the responses cannot be tracked to the person who is responding in a group setting. However, in depth interviews you can track who is saying what, and what could be the motivations saying with that. So, you can relate those answers with the individual's characteristics also. Now, you can understand by the definition of depth interviews that probing is of critical importance in obtaining meaningful responses and uncovering hidden issues. Probing is done by asking such questions like what do you say. I mean, you can probe the respondent in a different manner. The interviewer needs to have certain kind of skills. So, he understand probably what is prompting the respondent to hold certain kind of information. He can probably win the trust of the respondent, or probably assure the respondent to not hold back certain information. It could be important from his research point of view, or he can give the he can assure the respondent about the confidentiality of the what is being talked there. So, all these things basically it requires a lot of skills at the interviewer's side, and what happens in this case is, you will from there you can understand. Again, probably it is even more expensive than the focus group, because here the each interaction is happening between the interviewer and the respondent. So, the time of the which is required to be done with the interviewer, the services of the interviewer, or the time of that interviewer has to devote for interviewing 10 people will be much higher than probably having a talk in the group setting. In that way, probably the depth interview is more costly in terms of time as well as monetary cost of which is involved with this process. Now, you see that depth interview could be probably of different forms. that one of them could be one of the very common type of depth interviews that which is also labeled as laddering. What happens inside this laddering technique is that the interviewer starts with the asking from the product characteristics to the respondent and try to understand the motivational level or user characteristics thing that is basically prompting the particular user to go for a particular product or the service. So, I will give you one example, like in the case of two wheeler, in one of the study basically we have seen, I will give you an example that that why people prefer to use or why people to prefer to have an two wheeler sort of this Activa or this Vigo or all those different types of scooters inside the campus over probably a car. Why they prefer to travel inside? So, they talk about that it is fuel efficient. So, you see that the product characteristics why they are using the scooter is fuel efficient. The next question being asked to respondent is why it is important to be fuel efficient. So, people have talked about like that being fuel efficient is less damage to the environment. One of the answer is that. So, when they say like it is less efficient less damage to the environment, the next question is being asked is that why basically you want or why this kind of environmental damage is important. Then they say like it is our job, it is something, it is a collective duty of the inhabitant of all the community in this place that we take care of the good environment inside this campus. So, from there you can understand that a user characteristics that he is environmental conscious or he is worried about the environmental damages, and that is prompting basically him to purchase a particular kind of two wheeler rather than probably using a four wheeler which might have a lower level of mileage, and that makes them to prefer the two wheeler uses inside the campus. The other type of depth interviews could be talking about the hidden issues where people are probed about their sore points rather than talking about social norms or the values. You talk to them about their personal sore points, and then in the symbolic analysis you try to understand what is the product stand for, or what is the relationship between the product and the user, in the sense what kind of need you are fulfilling. Like an example regarding which was about the airlines, where the respondent were asked what is airlines to you, what if you are unable to use the airlines. So, they said if we cannot use these respondents were the executive of different corporate houses, and they were they answered mostly that if we are unable to use the airlines, we have to use the emails, we have to use the letters to communicate with the counterparts. So, from there the interviewer could or the analyst could understand that basically an airlines is a sort of FedEx to what FedEx does to the basically parcel, the airlines does that to the basically these executives. So, it is basically fulfilling their face to face communication need, it is providing them that facility. So, these are basically the symbolic analysis where you try to understand what this product will not do. I will end this session here, and when we will meet in the next session, we will talk about rest of the exploratory techniques which are commonly used in the marketing research, and then we will finish off this module by talking about these exploratory research techniques. Thank you very much.